Reed used to be a puppet, though he didn't realize it. He thought he was sensitive or empathetic, but in reality, he was just controllable. Every person he met held a string attached to his nervous system. If a client sent a passive-aggressive email at 9 a.m., Reed's entire day was ruined. His chest would tighten, his focus would vanish, and he'd spend hours mentally rehearsing an angry defense. If a stranger gave him a dirty look on the Seattle light rail, he'd wonder what was wrong with his outfit for the next 3 miles. If his girlfriend seemed distant in a text, he'd spiral into a 50-tab mental loop of insecurity. Reed was living in a state of emotional fragility. He was a leaf in a hurricane, blown around by the opinions, moods, and actions of people who didn't even care about him. He was exhausted from the constant up and down. He realized that as long as he was reactive, he was a background character in his own life. Then, during a high-stakes project meeting, Reed watched a senior partner handle a total system failure. While everyone else was shouting and sweating, this man sat perfectly still. He didn't blink. He didn't panic. He was unfazed. He wasn't cold. He was sovereign. In that moment, Reed realized that being unfazed isn't a personality trait. It's a biological skill. It's the ability to keep your internal climate steady regardless of the weather outside. Reed decided to cut the strings. This is the blueprint for becoming the eye of the storm. Reed began his transformation with the physicality of stoicism. He realized that you cannot have an unfazed mind if you have a frantic body. He learned about the autonomic nervous system. When someone insults you or a crisis hits, your fight or flight response, the sympathetic nervous system, kicks in. Your breath becomes shallow, your pupils dilate, and your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that makes smart decisions, essentially shuts down. You become a lizard. Reed started practicing the 5-second delay. He realized that the unfazed look is actually just a gap. It's the space between a stimulus, the insult, the bad news, and your response. While everyone else reacts in 0.5 seconds, Reed started training himself to wait 5 full seconds. He used box breathing to trigger his vagus nerve. 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold. 4 seconds out, 4 seconds hold. By manually slowing his breathing, he was sending a physical signal to his brain. There is no tiger. There is no threat. You are safe. He realized that if he could control his heart rate, he could control the room. By the end of month 2, Reed had mastered the non-reactive gaze. When someone tried to bait him into an argument, he would just breathe and look at them. This silence was terrifying to people. It signaled that their strings no longer worked on him. Next, Reed addressed the psychological leaks. He realized he was caring about things that didn't actually exist, specifically, other people's perceptions of him. He adopted the spotlight effect realization. He realized that most people are so obsessed with their own 50 tabs open and their own insecurities that they aren't actually thinking about him at all. He was performing for an audience that wasn't even watching. This realization was liberating. If no one is watching, he is free to be whoever he wants. He implemented the Stoic filter, the dichotomy of control. He began to categorize every event into 2 buckets. The internal, my thoughts, my actions, my character. The external, the weather, the economy, other people's moods. Image, the Stoic circle of control. If it fell into bucket 2, Reed practiced radical indifference. If a major project was rejected, he focused on bucket 1. Did I do my best work? Yes. Then the rejection is an external variable. It is noise. He learned about negative visualization. Every morning, Reed would spend 2 minutes imagining the worst-case scenario. He'd imagine getting fired or losing his apartment. By preloading the pain, he removed its power. When small inconveniences happened during the day, a missed flight, a rude comment, they felt like nothing because he had already survived the end of the world in his mind at 6 a.m. He was building a mental moat. He realized that caring what people think is just a form of narcissism, the belief that everyone's world revolves around you. By letting go of his ego, he found his power. The real test came from social aggression. In the high-stakes tech world of Seattle, people use subtle digs and power plays to knock you off balance. Reed's old self would have tried to win the argument or get defensive. The new Reed adopted the gray rock method. When someone tried to provoke him or bait him into an emotional reaction, Reed became as interesting as a gray rock. He gave short, non-committal answers. Interesting. I see. That's one perspective. Image. The gray rock strategy. Neutralizing a narcissist or bully. He realized that anger is a confession of weakness. When you get angry at someone, you are telling them, "You have the power to change my state. You are my master." Reed refused to give anyone that much status. He mastered the dead air technique. If someone insulted him, he would just look at them. He wouldn't frown. He wouldn't smile. He would just maintain neutral eye contact for 3 seconds longer than was comfortable. Usually, the other person would start to stutter or walk back their comment. He found that silence is the ultimate mirror. It reflects the other person's ugliness back at them without Reed having to get his hands dirty. He stopped over-explaining. He realized that explanations are for the guilty. If he made a decision, he stated it. If someone didn't like it, he let them sit with that feeling. He wasn't responsible for their emotional regulation. 6 months later, Reed had achieved emotional bulletproofing. It didn't mean he didn't feel things. It meant he didn't identify with the feelings. He started seeing emotions like the weather. One day it's raining, sadness. The next day it's a heat wave, anger. Reed realized he is the sky. The sky doesn't care about the weather. The sky just is. His productivity skyrocketed. Because he wasn't wasting 40% of his daily mental RAM on social anxiety or resentment, he could funnel all that energy into his architecture. He was doing the work of 3 people because his mind was clean. He realized that being unfazed made him a natural leader. In a crisis, everyone looks to the person who isn't panicking. Because Reed stayed calm when a major server migration failed, his team stayed calm. He saved the company not by being the smartest, but by being the most stable. He looked back at the puppet he used to be. He realized that unfazed isn't a lack of emotion. It's a superabundance of focus. He was no longer a background character in a drama. He was the director. He achieved sovereign status. He moved from a reactive life to a creative life. He realized that the ultimate flex in 2026 is the ability to remain calm in a world that is designed to make you panic. Reed is sitting on a bench in a crowded Seattle park. The city is buzzing, sirens are wailing, and people are rushing. Reed is a statue of calm. He looks at the camera, at you. "You're tired," he says. "You're tired of being affected. You're tired of one bad text message or one rude comment ruining your entire afternoon. You think you need to be tougher. You think you need to fight back. You don't. You need to stop giving people permission to exist in your head. Starting today, I want you to find your anchor. Next time someone tries to knock you off balance, don't move. Don't speak. Take that 5-second breath. Realize that their opinion of you is a reflection of them, not a reality of you. The world is a chaotic, loud, and often mean place. You can't control the world, but you can control the man standing in the middle of it. Stop being a leaf, become the mountain. Be the person who is unfazed by literally everything. Your power is in your silence. The world is shouting. Are you listening, or are you unfazed?